Well, when we started working here in the European Institute of Oncology 15 years ago, we noticed a strange situation that the two fields, cardiology and oncology, were not able to talk to each other. That is why we noticed that there was no research on this field, and cardiology worked by themselves and oncologists worked by themselves. That is why we started working of the things that might be interesting for both the two fields. It's correct. Since, for instance, the major problem that we have in cardio-oncology is the detection of the cardiotoxicity of chemotherapeutic drugs. And I told you 15 years ago there was no research on cardiotoxicity in the congresses, either oncologic and cardiological congresses. There was no discussion about that. And cardiotoxicity was just considered something that was unlucky for the patient, and there was no research to detect at least the preclinical aspects of cardiotoxicity and the possibility to cure the cardiotoxicity when has come. Well, in these 15 years, we tried to detect early biomarkers that were able to have an early preclinical diagnosis of cardiotoxicity, where, for instance, echocardiography or magnetic resonance was not able to do it. Very easy bioassays able to detect minimal changes in the myocardial cells, possibly declaring in advance cardiotoxicity. The second step was to show that these minor preclinical changes might have important clinical impact, at least in terms of major cardiac adverse effects for the oncologic patients. And the third step was to interfere with this process with drugs, for instance with AC inhibitors, and that was able to stop or reverse the cardiotoxicity situation of the patient. And this is very important since many important drugs for oncologists were not given because of the scare of the cardiotoxicity. And that is why cardiology may help oncologists and oncologic patients having much more deep and integrated schemes of chemotherapy, or even dosage of drugs that was absolutely unexpected 15 years ago. The treatment of cardiotoxicity is, first of all, to detect the changes at cellular level, and with oral drugs that we use, for instance, in hypertension, are able to stop the development of true clinical evident cardiotoxicity. The goal is to maintain the function of the heart, since if the function of the heart goes lower than 50%, the oncologist cannot give drugs to the patient, and it's really a pity. And we show that it's possible to give drugs even at this level if we put a defense with cardiologic drugs. I think so, since, as you know, many of the new drugs, first of all, anthracyclines are very used and possibly used at higher dosages. And the new drugs, very interesting new drugs, for instance, anti-angiogenetic and tyrosine inhibitors, have for sure cardiological implications. And Herceptin showed cardiological implication, and we were studying the reversibility with drugs, with cardiologic drugs, of these initial cardiotoxic aspects of these new potent drugs. For instance, the treatment of neoplastic pericardial effusion. I have to tell you that 15 years ago, regrettably, for the cardiologist, the right way to die for cancer patients was a cardiac tamponade for neoplastic pericardial effusion. Now we can treat it. We have even a survival of 1,000 days with intracardiac or at least intrapericardial administration of tiotepa, that is antineoplastic and sclerosing agent. The second aspect that is very important, it's growing, is deals with the regulation of the phase 1, phase 2 research on new drugs. As you know, the QT electrocardiographic interval is considered something that has to be considered, and we are studying that many aspects of this approach is not correct and is really poor for the research, having so many drugs that might be tremendously helpful for cancer patients that are stopped because minor and not significant from the cardiological, arrhythmological point of view because of the QT pattern that has been interpreted in a new way, in our opinion. Let me tell you that this was an idea that we had together with the friends of the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. There are no many groups of cardiologists working in an oncologic center. I have to say that generally that cardiologists that were sent in the oncologic center was not good. It's not a career, and there was not the idea to do research in this field. And that is why we found in Houston and we found also in New York as a Sloan Kettering friend that started together with us, and we are going to build up something international to have protocols together and to develop new avenues of research in this field that might be very interesting. The first cardio-oncology meeting in the world next September 2009, and it will be here at the European Institute of Oncology with at least 15 friends from the United States, coming from Germany, from French, and from Great Britain, since something's really growing up in a right way.